Alright. So, hello! I am Mendeleev Doughty, and I'm here to talk about the People's Republic of China. Right. So, here is some of the tourist sites in China. These happen to be... This one is the Great Wall of China. That comes to us courtesy of the Beijing Private Tourist Group. This one is between China... It is an apple orchard between China and Kyrgyzstan. This one is... That also comes to us from China daily. This one is... Oh, shoot. This one is of the Three Gorges Dam. This is from Zhao Yu. And this one is from the Telegraph, and it is of Beijing's annual fireworks show. And this is, I think, from 2011. Here's the table of contents, and here's what we have to look forward to. We have to look forward to a conclusion, some culture and traditions, environmental challenges. We get to learn a little bit about some fruit here from this region, geographic features, our introduction, historical background, political landscape, and some population demographics, none of which is in that order. Alright, so I've actually had to come across the history of China several times when trying to look into research into the history of some fruit, especially if you're looking into history of fruit of like any region similar to China. If you're looking into the history of fruit that has to go through Japan, you come across it because usually they come through there. It's come into use whenever looking into this project, and it just feels like something that's sort of obvious to do, but I actually have loved to learn about the People's Republic of China, and it's something I've always kind of wanted to learn about, because it just seems something that's always kind of been misunderstood, at least in the at least to like the Western world. More oftentimes whenever you hear about it, it's just people who are speaking about it, they just talk about it as if it's not something great, but I don't see it as that. People can see it however they want, but it's just rather weird. So here's some geographic features, and here's the location of the People's Republic of China. Continent-wise, it's located in East Asia. It borders with Afghanistan, Bhutan, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Laos, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, North Korea, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Vietnam. It has many landforms. These include the plateaus of Tibet, the Kinlung and Quilung Mountains, the Mongolian, Laos, and the Yungi Plateaus, the Sui and Tarim Basins, Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain in the world as of current records, and the Turfan Depression, which is the second lowest geographic depression on Earth. And the climate is incredibly varied. Now, the east and the southwest and south, they are rather wet, humid, and warm, but the north is kind of dry and windy, and it kind of feels like a desert. It kind of depends on where you are in relation to bodies of water, and if the Yangtze River kind of splits it. But it's overall a kind of mild climate. If I remember correctly, Beijing just had like their first rain of the year. Though I could be remembering it slightly off. It might be like first or second. Definitely up there. But the rivers that are in this location happen to include the Yangtze River, the Yellow River, the Pearl River, the Huai River, the Ai River, the Lao River, and the Songhua River. These come to us from Nations Online, and this is a province map. I figured this one would be a little bit easier to understand, so that at least you know where we're looking at. And this one's actually a river map, and this one comes to us from Yangtze River Cruises. Now, the river map's a little bit easier to look at, or if you're trying to look for the rivers, because you can kind of see them a little bit on this map, because of sometimes they make up a little bit of borders of provinces, but not all the time. So, yes. we're moving on to the next one. Next slide. The People's Republic of China is prone to many natural disasters. A few of the more common ones include earthquakes, floods, typhoons, and tornadoes, though those are typically not as intense. Typhoons happen to be some of the more common ones, as do floods, actually. But you more often hear about typhoons oftentimes hitting there. Monsoons also happen, but monsoons happen in that region of the world pretty often anyways. Environmental problems also are particularly common there. This photo, which comes to us from EcoHub map, is of the Yangtze River. And as we can see, it is incredibly polluted. It's polluted with toxic chemicals, but this is not the only river in China that's polluted. It's just the most infamous one, as this is their main source for hydroelectric power. While this specific one is actually being able to... It's able to be cleaned up, they are actually looking into cleaning up, and they've gotten the Yangtze River Protection Act put into place as part of their contribution to the Paris Climate Agreement. You're more likely to hear about their smog days, which have decreased in the past few years. In 2024, there was only about 2 of them. But with the rise of fast fashion, AI, and the boom of the tech industry, along with the movement of most industrial workforces from other countries to what is seen as a cheap and easy to exploit workforce in the People's Republic of China, it's pretty easy to see why this would lead to environmental problems over there. And as we can see, it is just absolutely horrific. So some historical background. The second Nong dynasty brought in the rise of soybeans and feudalism, along with the fall of feudalism and the rise of urbanism. Around this time, there was also Confucius, who was a philosopher, and he taught that human relationships were above all else, and that moral excellence was above birth, like the role of your birth. And this was needed considering that was a role of feudalism. Taoism also came out of this as a rebuttal to the Confucianism system, and around the 3rd century, a lot of Taoists got influenced a lot towards Buddhism. The Qin dynasty, which came in right after, added in administrators, and they expanded the Great Wall. They also added in the writing system into law. They codified it, and then the last person in that dynasty also had those stone statues of about 6,000. I think it's a little bit more than that. And then the Han dynasty, which was right after, opened up the Silk Road, which is pretty infamous in and of itself. A little while after, there was a period of foreign rule, which also fragmented the nations, or the nation after, and then reunified again under Soy. Though it didn't reunify completely, the first one in that dynasty helped to regain the trust of single-family homes, and the second one helped integrate the South, and they both attempted to finish a canal system. This helped bankrupt the government. Then the Tang dynasty right after had an era of good government, and then they attacked Korea several times. Way later on, the Mongols were the first time a non-Han Chinese, not a person of non-Han Chinese descent ruled the country, and also they were the first time Tibet actually was part of China, which was pretty cool. Here's some of Chinese culture. This specific one is Mandarin, which is a Mandarin Chinese, which is the language over there. This is actually the spinning of silk, which has been going on since the 4th millennium. This is Shiraku, which is the artist is unknown, but it is a specific type of music over there that was popular in about the 50s and 60s, though it became unpopular for a while because of it was a lot of propaganda happened against it from the government. And this is a tea time set, which comes to us from Gary Stevens, or a Chinese tea set, and it is tea has been it's been used in the culture pretty often over there for thousands. It's been used way back for millennia as well. So for population demographics, as of the 2020 census, there are 1,411 billion people in the People's Republic of China. It also shows that women, on average, live longer, and also that most people are under 60, yet over 30, which means that usually they're within like working age, so not too many people are needing to be relied on over there. Over 91% of the population is descended from the Han Chinese ethnic group, whereas both the Tibetan and Uyghur groups combined total about 8.89% of the population, even though there are 56 types of ethnic groups in China. So, political landscape. We're going to go for government system first. And China is a republic because it has elected officials, but it is also a one-party state. And the president's role, the president has no power by himself, but typically they serve concurrently as the general secretary of the Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party, and also as the chairman of the Central Military Commission. And so they do have power in that instance, but they don't have power by themselves. They also have the National People's Congress, which is the largest congress in the world, but it is unicameral, which is pretty interesting. Also, they are on the UN, which is pretty interesting as well, because they are well documented for their treatment of their indigenous people, particularly the Uyghurs, which has gotten them in the headlines for several years, specifically about their just treatment of them. They've just gaslighted the international community about them, and oftentimes this has also happened whenever they were like passing laws to restrict the rights of those in Hong Kong as well. On their treatment of Uyghurs specifically, they've imprisoned more than 1 million people since about 2017, and a lot of them have been detained to surveillance and a lot of religious restrictions, forced labor, forced sterilizations. There's also been a lot of workplace violations over there as well, and they've never had a particularly great human rights record at all. They've been called out for it several times by the UN and by the Human Rights Watch organization, and especially by Amnesty International. Finally, we're going to leave off on actually quite a strange note, and we're going to actually leave off on the fruits. So these are some actual fruits that are in China, and these are from right to left. We're going to go and talk about these. This is this one, which comes to us. Oh my god. This one comes to us as this one is called the white olive, and it is also called the Chinese olive. And you can eat it dried. Most people like doing it like that, but they also like eating it juiced. This one right below it is called the Hanyu. It has a variant which is more well known called the Black Diamond. Both are apples. This olive isn't actually an olive at all. But not this black olive. This white olive isn't actually an olive at all. This is Buddha's hand. That's the name of the fruit. It's technically a type of citrus. And this is Longyan. It's closer to lychee, actually. In conclusion, if there's anything that can be said, it's an incredibly diverse place with a lot of the highest peaks and a lot of the lowest natural depths. We've went from a lot of the high plateaus to the rivers and the pollution that has run through them. And once we finished with that, we took a brief dip into the history and the culture, and then some of the politics, the human rights violations, and then we ended up off with a little bit of a fruit lesson. And as much as I hope you enjoyed, I do hope you will retain some of this knowledge, because it is something that I do think you will find useful. Thank you. I do hope you have a really good day. Here are some of my sources, just in case. Thank you.